Iqra Waffham. Read and understand. A journey through the Qur'an on radio. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Peace be upon you, and the mercy and blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be upon you too. Marhaba, welcome to a special Qur'an class on radio. Empower yourself by building your knowledge of the Qur'an under the guidance of our alim or teacher. Join us as we become familiar with the content and the positions of the surahs or chapters and ayahs or verses within the noble Qur'an, inshaAllah. Engage and get closer to the Qur'an by making your own notes as the alim recites, translates, and provides a brief explanation of each verse. Iqra Waffham. Read and understand.
A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen ar-rahmanir rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladhina an'amta alayhim ghayril maghdubi alayhim waladdallin. Ameen. Well, assalamu alaikum and welcome to Maulana Yacoob Lehrie, our respected listeners of Iqra Waffham, and read and understand. Maulana, you just visited India. If you could just give us a brief idea of what experience you had and what can you tell us?
Oh, alhamdulillah, I had a good experience. The weather is very hot at the moment. It's summer there. So temperature is like 40, 42 degrees. But alhamdulillah, I went to spend my time with my Sheikh Mufti Ahmed Khan Puri. May Allah give him long life, good health.
Ameen.
And he's actually the chief, or you say the Sheikh ul Hadith of Darbil Madrasa, Darbil Darul Ulum. And I spent approximately 10 days by him. So during my time, I was mostly, in the madrasa, not going out or anything because it was very hot as well. And when you stay by him, he don't like you to go anywhere else.
Okay.
So he has a program every morning at the Hajj time. We go and make dhikr at his place together with him. And then after that, we go to classes with him where he teaches the final year of the alim classes, the Bukhari, Tirmizi, and Shamail, and Ghazawat. So those three sections, Ghazawat means battles, of Bukhari Sharif. So I used to be present for his lessons and go with him and come with him as well. Then after Asr, he used to have a majlis as well, which is a special gathering for ulama and students and that. So from there we used to benefit as well. And just being close to him, even if he doesn't say many words, but his proximity means a lot to me. And I find the spiritual benefit whenever I stay with him. But this time was something little different, as I mentioned to you. I am related to him in spiritual relationship, or you say taking bayat, 16 years. In 2008, May, I took bayat allegiance to him. And he is the Khalifa of a great man, Hazrat Mufti Mahmud al-Hassan Gangohi, rahmatullah alayhi, who is buried in Germiston, passed away in South Africa.
Okay.
And besides that also, there are a lot of other things other accolades that to his name. One is he's the Grand Mufti of India at this time, and he's one of the leading personalities, ilm and tarbiyat and spiritual mentorship. I was honored I get honored being staying there. But one great thing happened, I told you, in this trip, or you say, maybe he put an amanat, an extra responsibility upon me, where he gave me ijazat and khilafat. So I was not expecting that, and I don't think, no one can say that he's fit for it, but maybe it's Allah has put in his heart that he's conferred this khilafat and ijazat to me. So I make dua that Allah Ta'ala give me the tawfiq to uphold this and spread his fairs, or you say, the duties that he assigned or he was doing, spread it to entire four corners of the world and the entire South Africa, and people under me who study under me, people around me can benefit. And it's really the tawajjuhat, you call it in Arabic and in Urdu. Tawajjuhat is the spiritual attention that he puts to you, that what will make a man. And Allah's Nabi Sallallahu put the spiritual attention to the Sahaba, and they became great personalities. So we wish also one day that we become those people that people will beacon of light, people will take guidance from us, and people will benefit, inshallah.
Ameen, ameen. Tell me now, Khilafat, just for us all.
To understand this is in the lines of spiritual mentorship. And in spiritual mentorship is apart from ilm. Ilm is where you study the alim course, and you study the alim course, and then you get sanad, and you get the ijazat and permission of narrating hadith. So this here is in spiritual mentorship, where you go for your discipline and your adab and your ways, which is very important in life, which you call tazkiyah, purification of the soul and purification of one's carnal desires. So you stay by a person like this here, and he got from a greater person, and he goes on and go right to, we got a sanad and a chain for this as well, that will reach right to Ali radiallahu anhu, and from Ali radiallahu anhu is Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So like this here, in spending your time, or you say swearing allegiance, like how in Bayatul Ridwan, allegiance was taken, Sahaba radiallahu anhu were already Muslims, but they all took bayat again to Allah's Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Like that, you take bayat or allegiance, you swear allegiance, and then you take your spiritual mentorship and direction from him. Now that helps you a lot in life to, in other words, smoothen the road and allow you to steer your ship in the right direction, which is very important. So when you say given ijazat and khilafat, what it means, what's the extra benefit or something? We say not a benefit, a responsibility. Now you allow that other people can take allegiance to you, and now you start guiding them, and like how a doctor is able to prescribe medicine, now you are able to prescribe spiritual medicine to the people under you. This is what is about khilafat and ijazat in this direction of tasawwuf, you say.
So that means you can advise people, you can assist them in their difficulties.
Yes, we do that already now. People come to us, and that is an alim also we're doing. But now, greater than that now, that person relates to you, and he takes all his direction from you. So in other words, you tell him to also, you prescribe to him, read so much Qur'an also, keep your salah in place like this, make so much of zikr. You give him, like how a doctor tells you take 2 Panados. So like that, you're able to tell the patient that, this is what you do. And you start now also making dua for him, so his life becomes aligned. So that's an extra duty now that has been conferred upon you. So it's an amanat also, because the trust, because how you carry it out, and you have to be very careful not to do anything sinful. Why? The nur and the spirituality of it will get lost.
It's a responsibility.
It's a responsibility, yes.
Wow. Well, Maulana, it's Hajj time, bringing us Eid al-Adha, a period of sacrifice experienced by Ibrahim alayhi salam, which was a test, a very hard test to bear in many ways. So here we are, Maulana. You will run us through this heart-wrenching history, bringing to us the reason for a sacrifice for which every Muslim should observe. Bismillah.
So Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, alhamdulillahi wahda wassalatu wassalamu ala man la nabiyya ba'da. Respected listeners, and my brother on my left-hand side here. So once again, we are in the month of Zul Hijjah. Zul Hijjah is the last month of the Islamic year, and also it is that month that where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala likes good deeds. So let's go with this, that it being the last month of the Islamic year, that the number of months according to Allah is Isna Ashara Shahran, 12 months. Of the 12 months, minha arba'atun hurum. From it, 4 are sanctified and revered. You say the sacred months.
Ji.
So which are the sacred months? Zul Qa'dah, Zul Hijjah, Muharram, and Rajab.
Ji.
Zul Qa'dah, which comes before Zul Hijjah, and then Zul Hijjah itself, and Muharram. And then Rajab. Now let's go to the Zul Qa'dah and what you call Muharram. Because of them being neighbors to Zul Hijjah, and this great journey of going to Hajj starts in Zul Qa'dah and it ends in Muharram. In those days they should travel with camels. They used to walk. They used to walk and go for Hajj. So the time consumed in the journey used to start from Zul Qa'dah and end in Zul Hijjah. And then it return journey from Zul Hijjah, then it ends in Muharram. So those months have been sanctified as well.
Okay.
Then we go back to this year, that Allah has blessed the month of Zul Hijjah with 2 great forms of ibadat.
Ji.
What are the 2 great forms of ibadat? One is qurbani, the sacrifice of an animal for the sake of Allah,
Ji.
reviving the sunnat of our father Ibrahim alayhi salam, and also the great journey of Hajj. Which last year you, alhamdulillah, you fresh. It was just last year that you were there in Hajj, and the memories may be fond with you while the people are going also. You may be thinking also that last year we were there in Medina, and so many days after that they traveled to Makkah, and all those memories come back to a person. And those who didn't go for Hajj, today is very easy. Social media has brought it very close to us with the pictures and all that you're watching, that you've seen what reality of Hajj is. Before we used to go to a house to listen to stories of Hajj, if you remember. Not even a picture. The stories of Hajj, and it used to be so interesting that we used to go and welcome a Haji, so he tell us what happened at Mina, and then what happened at Muzdalifah. Today the pictures are there.
It's all there.
We all sing it, so we're saying let's revive the feeling of the great journey of Hajj. Now let's go to this, that Hajj is such an action that you cannot do it in any other time. There is no nafal of Hajj. You understand? When I say no nafal of Hajj, let's go to this here. When I say you can make a Hajj the second Hajj, but you can't make the nafal of Hajj out of the Hajj season. It is there. It's fixed on that day. See, Ramadan, fasting is fard. But I can keep nafal fast in any other part of the year besides the 5 years that are haram. 5 days that are haram. Let's say Salah. Salah, fixed the 5 fard Salah. But besides the makruh time, the dislike times, I can read Salah in any part of the day at any time of the year. Hajj, can you do that? No. It is fixed in the month of Zul Hijjah. Therefore, Zul Hijjah has this fadilat, that wal fajri wal layalin ashr wal shaf'i wal watr wal layli iza yasr hal fi dhalika qasamul lizi hijr. I have not seen in the Qur'an that for one particular month so many qasams and oaths have been taken by Allah. Number 1, Allah takes a qasam wal fajr, but the qasam of dawn and morning. Okay, some mufassirin say it is the general dawn that brings hope of a new day. It revives the feelings of every person, wal fajr. Because those days they don't have electricity. They did not have electricity. So in the darkness of the night, the sadness used to come, the feelings. And when light used to come, it used to bring new hope. So wal fajr. Okay. Now let's go relating it to Hajj. And the riwayat, in one riwayat, I think is Abdullah bin Zubair radiyallahu anhu, if I can remember, that he says wal fajri refers to the morning of Eid ul-Adha, which is the 10th of Zul Hijjah. It's a unique morning. I'm going to explain why it's unique. Let's go on. Wal fajri wal layalin ashr. Just remind me to come back to why it's unique. Wal layalin ashr means the 10 days of Zul Hijjah. When the word layal, although it refers to night, but it comes in its plural form, then it refers to the day and night.
Okay.
So the day and night of the first 10 days, the 24 hours of the day, not the day itself. وَلَيَالٍ عَشْرٍ. So we take in a qasam, but the first 10 days of Zulhijjah. Why the first 10 days of Zulhijjah? Because these are the only 10 days of the year that every form of ibadat can be performed. The other 10 days, the other days of the year, the Hajj cannot be performed.
Yes.
No other days.
No other
so
days.
in these days here, every form of worship to Allah can be performed. وَلَيَالٍ عَشْرٍ. Allah takes a qasam. Allah's Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam says, to the riwayat of Abdullah bin Abbas radiyallahu ta'ala an, he says, مَا مِنْ أَيَّامٍ الْعَمَلُ الصَّالِحُ فِيهَا أَحَبُّ إِلَى اللَّهِ تَعَالَى من هذه الأيام يعني أيام العشر. That Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam says, there is no other days good deeds are more valuable or more dearer to Allah than these days. Which days? The first 10 days of Zulhijjah. So Sahaba radiallahu anhu, Allah give them jazaa'ul khair to bring clarity in the whole matter. قالوا Ya Rasulullah, they said, O Prophet of Allah, وَلَا الْجِهَادُ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. Jihad, fighting in the path of Allah. Imagine you fighting and you're on your horse and you're fighting kufr and you're fighting batil. So he says, وَلَا الْجِهَادُ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. Even jihad in the path of Allah cannot equal worship on the first 10 days of Zulhijjah. إِلَّا رَجُلٌ خَرَجَ بِنَفْسِهِ وَمَالِهِ فَلَمْ يَرْجِئْ مِنْهُ بِشَيْءٍ. Except that man who has come out with all that he has owned and he's come out with himself and he does not return with anything. In other words, his life has been given and his property and belongings have been all sacrificed in the path of Allah. That person, his deed is greater than the deeds of those people who do good deeds on the first 10 days of Zulhijjah. So, وَلَيَالٍ عَشْرٍ وَالشَّفْعِ وَالْوَتْرِ. Shafa means this year the even number, and watr means the odd number. So now, when you say the odd number, let's go to the odd number first. The odd number refers to the day of Yawmul Arafah. Okay. Yawmul Arafah is the greatest day of the year. If a man takes a qasam that I will fast on the best day of the year, then fuqaha have unanimously said that he must fast on the day of Arafah. Fasting on the day of Arafah, it removes all sins of the past year and all sins of the coming year. So some people said that when Allah gives you tawfiq, some ulama say, when Allah gives you tawfiq to fast on the day of Arafah, it's Allah is going to give you tawfiq to live one more year. Because how are you going to get that 1 year's sawab of the year coming also?
Okay.
So that's there, but taqdeer will take its course.
Allahu Akbar.
Then let's go to this. What refers to the day of Yawm Arafah. Then we go to Washaf. Shaf means the entire. First we took a qasam wal fajr, the morning of it. And Washaf means the 10th of Zulhijjah, the day of Eid al-Adha. So these days are marked out. The 9th and 10th, Allah has filled it with qasam. Hal fi dhalika qasam. Oh, wal layli iza yasr. One more thing. And the night when it passes by. Which night? The night of, you call it the 10th of Zulhijjah. Now I'm going to explain why this Fajr is unique. I said the morning of the 10th of Zulhijjah is unique. Islamically, you know that the day follows the night. Because the night is the actual thing and the day came after that.
Okay.
In Hadith and Qur'an, وَآيَةٌ لَهُمُ اللَّيْلِ لَسْلَخُ مِنْهُ النَّهَارِ. Actually, there was darkness first and then light came into the sky. And many times in tafsir I have mentioned this as well.
Yes.
So, need not to go back to that, just to explain that the night comes first. So we say if it is the 9th of Zulhijjah, then from after Maghrib, the 9th has started. Okay? So in English date, or you say the solar date, the night is coming after the day.
Yes.
Whilst here Islamically we say the night comes before the day. The day is tabi' in following the night. Now let's go to the 9th, the Yawmul Arafah. Yawmul Arafah is unique. Why unique? I don't know if you knew this, that the last Haji galloped from Yemen. And if you can remember, his name is Midras. Part of his name is Midras. And he came to Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam in Muzdalifah before Subh Sadiq. And he said, "Oh Nabi of Allah," Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam could hear him panting as well because he was rushing and coming.
Okay.
He says, "I just went to Arafah and I finished off at Arafah and I came now. Did I get my Hajj?" So Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said this great thing. He says that, you know what, that man who has went to Arafah and come to Muzdalifah any time before Fajr, he has got his Hajj.
Allahu
Right.
Akbar, yes.
So what it means? That Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam made 2 nights for the day of Arafah,
Okay.
which is now the 8th, which you say from the 8th, you count after that Maghrib, when you are in Mina, after Maghrib, that is 1 night and 2 nights. And there is no night to the 10th of Zulhijjah.
Okay.
So therefore, that is in fiqh, and therefore in this Allah has made it outstanding. Wal Fajr, it's a unique morning, does not have a night. Understood that? So Wal Layli is a yasr, and the night, which night? The 10th night, which is actually the 9th night. We gave it to Arafah, which is actually Arafah's night as well. 2 nights. Wal Layli is a yasr, and the night when it passes. So I hope listeners understood this part here and don't misunderstand.
Yes.
Okay, moving up to this, then we go to this, that what deeds should we do on those days, the first 10 days of Zulhijjah. First of all, Allah's Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to mark the moon of Zulhijjah for the sake of Hajj. Allah's Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he performed 1 Hajj, and that was called Hajjatul Wada. Why didn't he perform the Hajj before? Because the calendar was upsetted by the Quraysh.
Okay.
If you remember this, we discussed this before, that they moved the calendar for their own whims and fancies 10 days. So the calendar was 10 days off. So in that Hajj, he sent Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, followed by Ali, to make an announcement that from now on, no mushrik or no non-Muslim will make tawaf of this Kaaba. No one will come naked in this place. Those were the announcements, so he sent them. Purification, or you say a prep. Now, had he gone for that Hajj there, it means the whole date of Hajj would have been wrong. Because his action becomes the Shariat. So when he went the next year, then he said this, فَإِنَّ الزَّمَانَ قَدْ إِسْتَدَارَ. The time has turned completely in its rotation. And others, the lunar months turn 10 days every year. It becomes earlier. So the complete rotation has taken place and is set in its original place. So in other words, the 9th is the 9th now. The year before it was the 19th. You understand? You were making actually Arafah on the 19th of Zulhijjah. But now the 9th, فَإِنَّ الزَّمَانَ قَدْ إِسْتَدَارَ. The time has rotated completely, like the day we created the heavens and the earth, and it just set there. So let's go back now. So Allah's Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam made 1 Hajj. Hajj is a great ibadat. Hajj is a great ibadat. When we say this, that don't misunderstand this, that someone going for Hajj, you tell him, no, what is the need for him to go Hajj? He made 1 fard, then no. Hajj is an ibadat on its own. If Allah, today, okay, we got all this accrediting and this thing here, whether you get your chance, Allah knows best. But what we're saying is this here, that don't knock one part of deen to the next. Yes, giving charity is separate from making Hajj. So if a person, Allah has given him tawfiq and Allah has opened the way to make Hajj every year, well and good, let's tick it off. You know why Hajj is a great ibadat.
Absolutely.
Hazrat Hassan radiallahu anhu made 20 Hajjs in his life, and all the Hajjs were walking from Medina to Makkah. Hazrat Umar radiallahu anhu, during his Khilafat, every year he made Hajj. Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, during his Khilafat, he could not make Hajj because of all the jihad that was taking place. Usman radiallahu anhu, during his Khilafat, besides the last year, he made Hajj every year. So they're all fond of Hajj. So Allah give us tawfiq, if we can't go for Hajj, that we go for Umrah, and make sure that, we visit the Haram, we visit the Kaaba, we visit Medina Munawwara, it's a great, what you call it, spiritual upliftment for us going to the Kaaba.
You know, while you say that, last year I went for Hajj and I was quite ill, and yet I went. I'm telling you, as you speak, I'm feeling very emotional because it's like the heart gets left there.
Yes. That's it. Everyone who goes there, they tell you, if you went with a heart, you went a good niyat and shok, that you feel it stays with you. It's like honey sticking on your finger. And as you go further from the bottle, that line gets a little thin, but you still, the taste of honey is still in your mouth. So that taste there, it's like a drug now. You just want to take it again now. You know what? So let's go back. When we can go back, back. So from one journey to the next journey is when we can go back. That if Iman is soundly in your heart and it's alive in your heart, then you'll have this feeling. So Allah keep this feeling in us, in our children as well too. You know, things are changing as well.
Yes.
So this feeling is alive and is burning, the fire is burning high in our hearts, so that continuously we're visiting the Kaaba, Baytullah, and going to Medina Munawwara. And like that, Allah give us tawfiq to see Masjid Aqsa as well.
Ameen.
Now coming back to this, that now this great ibadat of what you call it Hajj and Qurbani that took place during the month of Dhul Hijjah. Qurbani means sacrifice. And this comes in the story of Ibrahim alayhi salam. Ibrahim alayhi salam, the father of 4,000 Nabis. Or you say directly and indirectly. You say from his progeny or line came out 4,000 Nabis. And on the top is Ibrahim alayhi salam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Inna Ibrahim kana ummatan qanitan lillahi hanifa wa lam yaku min al-mushrikeen. Ibrahim was outstanding as one man. Allah called him Ummat. Ummat means a person here. Qanitan, very obedient to Allah and straight. After the incident of him being thrown into the fire by Namruz, then he was taken out. After that, he left for Egypt with his wife Sarah. He thought of migrating. In Egypt was a king who had this, he had this habit that anyone passes his borders, that the wife or the female of those people traveling must spend one night in his room. So Ibrahim alayhi salam also, he encountered that on his journey, that Sarah was taken for one night, or you say a night in the room of the king. The king that night, every time he stretched his hands to interfere or you say indulge with Sarah, his hand froze. So then he decided that stretch again, few times he tried to do this, and every time his hand froze. Then he realized that this woman is someone else, is something else here. So in the morning, he gave his daughter Hajar as a present to Sarah alayhi salam. So Sarah took Hajar and she married Hajar because why? Hajar was 22 years old, got her married to what you call it, Ibrahim alayhi salam. Ibrahim alayhi salam, remember he's 83 years old, if I can say 83 or 84. And continuously his dua was, Rabbi habli minas salihin. Allah grant me a pious child, a righteous child. You know, a child don't have to be an alim, but a child needs to be righteous with good morals and values. So therefore the dua of Ibrahim alayhi salam is teaching us that Rabbi habli minas salihin. Allah grant us pious, or you say righteous children. You know, there was a great man in Medina Munawwara by the name of Maulana Sayyid Ahmad Khan Sahib rahimahullah. He passed away now, but he was one of the leaders, or you say, of the Tabligh and Jamaat Tabligh movement in the Arabian Peninsula. So he used to stay in Medina Munawwara. So I'm quoting this incident to tell you to see the elders, they also viewed it like this. So one person says, make dua Hazrat that this child becomes an alim. He says, no, Allah make him nek. Straight away he said, Allah make him nek. Nek means make him salih.
Yes.
So he explained that Rabbi habli minas solihin. Allah grant me righteous children. So Allah bless us with righteous children. It's an effort to make children righteous. Easy to send them from grade 000, start from 3 years old to send them to the creche, and then from the Montessori, then they. What is this, man? The child didn't have the lap of the mother. How the child is going to become righteous? Those are other people. They are scoring money from this. And to see that the child is honest, the child is, has chastity, modesty, all these are separate things. So we are so busy today, we forget about what is knowledge as well. We mix up the syllabus of a school to knowledge that the Qur'an is saying. Let's move on. Rabbi habli minas salihin. Ibrahim alayhi salam makes this dua.
Beautiful dua.
So he gets a child from Hajar. And that child's name is Ismail.
Okay.
So young Ismail is playing in the house of Ibrahim, and Sarah is saying to the people, take this child away from me. Allah closed the heart of Sarah to accept the child. It's from Allah's side too, because why? Allah's taqdeer is something else.
Yes.
So if you look at it, Allah's taqdeer was something else for all this to happen. So he closed the heart of Sarah. So every time this child comes, Sarah could not stand. He said, just take this child away from me.
Okay.
This became a problem in the house of Ibrahim alayhi salam. Jibreel alayhi salam comes and he says, Allah is commanding that you take this wife and this child and you take them away from here. So he says, so Ibrahim alayhi salam says, where? He says, Allah will show you. So that morning, Jibreel alayhi salam comes on his horse, and then Hajar and the young child Ismail and Ibrahim on one conveyance.
Gee.
So I'm trying to think whether it was a horse or camel. It's a camel, I think. So Ibrahim, must know this is 1,500 kilometers away, the journey from Palestine to Makkah Mukarramah. Ibrahim alayhi salam has the slightest idea, does not have the slightest idea where he's going. Jibreel alayhi salam says, follow me. Day after day they travel. Over 1 month pass in travel.
Really?
And as they approach, they completed the lands of greenery, or the lands that are plush with vegetables and fruits, which is Barakna Hawlahu, the area of Palestine, the area of Sham, full of what? Good fruits and vegetables. Up to now you see it. You go into the area, the fruits and the vegetables, everything dates, you see fresh, from pomegranates to dates to all kinds of things. Allah bless those lands. So Barakna Hawlahu. So you're traveling now, you're going from Durban to Johannesburg. First you see green, until you pass Harrismith. Now you see now brown grass now. You know why? It's more dry on that side. So like that they were traveling until they came to the areas. Now they're seeing black rocks now. Now they see that the rocks are burnt and they're entering the area of Hijaz. And he has no idea that now where he's going to leave this wife and child until they get into a valley, and all 4 sides of the valley covered by mountains. To explain to you the mountains, on his back, if he's facing the Kaaba, you will say on his back was Safa, Marwa, and to his right Jabal Hindi, and to his left is Mount Abu Qubais. Jabal Hindi today is called Jabal Umar.
Okay.
Same thing, Jabal Umar, where all those new hotels are built, that was Jabal Hindi. Abu Qubais is where the king's palace is, going up that way to Azizia. So within that 4 mountains, Jibreel alayhi salam says, Allah commands you to leave your child and your wife here. He looks around, there is no bird flying, no insect, no water, nothing, no civilization at all. Completely barren. Allah explains it, غَيْرِ ذِي زَرْعٍ. No vegetation, completely barren. Now, Ibrahim alayhi salam was a very brave man. If you know about Ibrahim alayhi salam's tawakkul, that when he was thrown into the fire by Namruz, then Jibreel came to him, and the Malaika of the mountains came to him, and they asked him that Allah is asking you have any. He says, we are asking you, you have any help? You need any help? He says, Amma ilayk fala. He says, as for relying on you, nothing, but from Allah, Allah is sufficient for me. Such a brave man that he says, no, I don't need your help. Hasbi Allah, Allah is sufficient. Over here he said, what? He said to Jibreel, yeah? Jibreel says, yes, Allah says yeah. So he gets down, disembarks from his camel, and that he sets a small, you say like a tent type structure for his wife, Hajar, and the child. And leaving them by with one water skin.
How old was the child?
The child that time was, you can say, just over 6 months old.
Okay.
And Hajar was 22 years old. And coming from a royal family.
Gee.
She did not come from a family just ordinary that you brought her here and you made her stay here, you know. You brought someone from a refugee camp or something like that. She's coming from a royal family and you're telling her, stay here, stay here. And now Ibrahim alayhi salam, few days, I think, not mentioned how many days, he stayed with the children, I stayed with his wife and child. And then now the command is to leave. So he leaves now, he walks in the direction, you say, the king's palace, moving up to Kudai. So his wife sees him leaving, she follows and she gives chase. She says, where are you going? And he's not turning back to look. Says, Ibrahim, why are you doing this to us? Imagine what was going through the heart of that lady. Huh? Is there anyone, I know what it is that, you know what, we didn't phone home to say we're not coming. What will be the score at home?
Yes.
Understand?
Of course.
We coming from the background of Jamaat going for 3 days, you know. What is the score at home also? You're going, you're leaving, your men like to go. You know, all those scores. Now look at now, we're talking about Hajar does not know whether it's 3 days, 40 days, 4 months, or what it is.
Uncertainty. Yeah.
Uncertainty of when he's going to come back or what he's doing now. So she follows him. 3 miles she runs after her husband until she realizes that this man is a Nabi. So she poses this question, Allahu amaraka bihaza? Did your Allah command you to do this? He doesn't turn back to make eye contact with her. He says, he nods his head. Then she says these great words. Now there was a new Hajar born. And that is a Hajar that believed in Allah and had what? Yaqeen and conviction in the words of Allah. So she said like this, Izan la yudayyan Allah. In that case, Allah will not destroy us if Allah commanded you to do this. Huh? Allah will not destroy us. Then she gets back and she walks back, and he now would know himmat, or you say, would know you say, courage in his heart to turn and look. As he passes the mountain right at the top and he cannot see much, then he lifts up his hands and he pours in dua. And what he pours? ربنا إني أسكنت بوادي ربنا إني أسكنت ذريتي بواد غير ذي زرع عند بيتك المحرم. Oh Allah, through your command I made my children, my family stay here in a valley which has nothing, barren. Why? ربنا ليقيموا الصلاة, so salat can be established.
Yeah.
You know, anything, any building that rises high, you know, the foundation has to be set firm and deep. So this is the building of the Khairul Ummat, the best of all nations. And this is the foundation starting from Hajar. So Hajar alayhi salam, I want you to think that you were there, and I also in December I was there as well. That standing on Mount Safa, that she now, that 3 days time, that this water gets finished, what she had in the water skin. And a child starts crying. Before that, let me just put the lights of Makkah. And just imagine there's load shedding in the entire Makkah. What was the first night of Hajar? What went through her heart?
Despondency.
What maybe went through? What kind of feelings? Did you ever think that when you stand there and think that you're standing in Mount Safa, that I'm going to make Safa, I'm going to go make Sa'i, that Hajar stood here, no water, no insect, no vegetation, nothing at all, lights off, the blackness of the night, the blackness of the rocks around her, and the darkness of loneliness in her heart.
Allah.
And the woman is still brave to stand up and run from one mountain to the next mountain. And what? Every woman loves the child.
Yes, yes.
Allah even in Qiyamah He says this, يَوْمَ تَزَّلُ كُلُّ مُرْضِعَةٍ أَمَّا أَرْضَعَتْ. Qiyamah is so bad, or you say so severe, that a woman who's breastfeeding a child, most loved by her, will forget the child. Qiyamah won't come on children, if you know that. Children will die before that.
J.
Right. Now let's go to this. So Hajar, after 3 days now, now she's looking for water for Ismail, who is crying. You know, Allah could have brought the water beforehand.
J.
Allah is Qadir and Mutlaq. Like how we think, you know. Allah is Qadir and Mutlaq. Allah is control and power is great.
Yeah, sure.
But now, for this foundation to come up, then there must be sacrifice that will be taken. Dunya is a test. أَحَسِبَ النَّاسُ أَن يُتْرَكُوا أَن يَقُولُوا آمَنَّا وَهُمْ لَا يُفْتَنُونَ. Do the people think that they will bring Iman and they will not be tested? Dunya is test. Jannat, Akhirat is for where there will be no test. And Akhirat is for all pleasures and all desires. We never live of life that whatever we want to do, we will do. Hajar alayhi salam could have said, husband, I don't agree. But on the commandment of Allah, she's staying over there. And she's taking that sacrifice of running alone with no soul around there. You know, I hate, you know, I sometimes, you know, my eyes just drip. And to think about this whole scene, that she being alone on this, in this Makkah Mukarramah.
Can't imagine.
No one, because we always see it full. Now she runs from one end to the next end, to the next. 7 times. 7 times, my brothers, you know, 7 was not the last amount. Or you say, because it's going to become the Shariat of Muhammad. No. 7 times she had no himmat, no courage to stand up. She said, rather I die far from him, he die on the other side. Whatever is going to happen. That's when she fell on Safa side. Then she could see from there that there is someone by her baby. A man is standing there.
Okay.
So from where suddenly a man came from in this area. So she ran again to see. And when she comes, she sees but the leg and the ankle of this man, the bottom, or you say the heel of this man, water is pouring out.
Oh.
And what? She gets closer and she says, Zam, 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 Zam. In the Hebrew language, stop, stop. You know why? The water is too much and it's flowing, just flowing. This is the only water that survives in this world without any pipe in that. When you say pipe, that you follow the water of your tap, you get to a pipe and a reservoir.
Ji.
Right?
You know the source.
Yes. And then the source, this water, where the source is and how it is, only Allah knows. And Allah has brought it. No frogs can live in it. No mosquitoes live in this. It doesn't pick up dirt, filth. It's always pure.
Allah.
Only water in the entire world. No other water can do this. So now she's saying Zam Zam. Our Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, if only my mother did not say Zam Zam, the whole world would have been full with this water. Right, okay. So she says Zam Zam. And finally the thing stops and that becomes the well of Zamzam, the blessings of Hajar alayhi salam sacrifice. Wallahi, Allah could have brought the water beforehand.
Ji.
And Allah could have made the arrangements because it's Allah's command. But because dunya is a test, therefore Allah put this sacrifice before Hajar.
Absolute
And you and I,
test, yeah.
our test is not like that. Our test is a simple thing, don't speak lies.
Yes, yes.
Our test is a simple thing, don't commit zina. Our test is simple thing, don't eat haram. Simple test we got.
Simple test.
Look where we come from, what a legacy our mother Hajar alayhi salam left. Ibrahim alayhi salam, how many times Hajar maybe looked in the direction from where her husband left, that waiting that maybe today he will come,
Yes,
today he will come.
yes.
Huh? It's not like this year you got SMS and you got WhatsApp and that and you got a message is coming. No. We're talking about a time that just look in the direction.
Totally unknown.
And suddenly she looks after 1 year and this man appears. And then he comes to and he's seated on the horse and she says, come down and eat something. He says, no, I got no permission. I just came to greet. What was the feelings of this girl, lady? What was the feelings of Mother Hajar alayhi salam? Then he says, okay, allow me to wash your feet and dust your clothes so you can. What kind of wife she was as well.
Allahu Akbar.
Huh? For this, they showed the ummah to what extent you must go to please your Allah. Now let's finish off with that. Then let's go now that Ismail grows up in the lap. Hajar bringing Ismail, bringing him up alone. While Ibrahim is just frequenting now and then.
Right.
And he comes now and he sees in his dream in Palestine, sacrifice the most valuable thing. So he goes and sacrifices the sheep that he had. Then he sacrificed the most valuable thing, he sacrificed the ox, the cattle. Then he says, sacrifice the most valuable thing. Again in his dream he's seeing. Then he says, no, he sacrifices a camel. Again when he sees this dream, he says, no. This is an ishara, indication that I must sacrifice my Ismail.
My beloved.
Now a man who made dua for 83 years for one child, now he is now galloping a horse with a knife in his hand and he is now going all the way to Makkah Mukarramah, 1,500 kilometers to fulfill the command of Allah. And which is seen in a dream too. Me and you, it's just a dream, man. If I tell the Maulana to, he say, what you worry, man, it's just a dream. What was the thoughts of this man while he was traveling? What was the day, 1 month's journey? How did he take out his nights and days in that on that conveyance? Think about the knife in his hand. Ismail is 14, 15 years old and now must convince his mother and take him away. And sacrifice for the sake of Allah. I've already spoiled his mother's feelings that I left her alone with the child.
Yes.
And he comes and he arrives in Makkah Mukarramah and he greets his wife and greets the child. And it's moments of happiness and joy that Ibrahim alayhi salam is back with his wife. Suddenly he says to his wife, let me take this child for hunting. According to books of history. So she got happy to father is here, it's his child. So he takes the child and he goes to
Hajar now?
Yeah, Hajar gets happy. Okay, take the child. And they take the child now and he walks towards Mina. When he reaches Mina, where is the Jamaratul Aqaba, the big shaitan you call it. In that area now, he's saying to the child, Inni ara fil manami anni asbahuka. Fanzur maza tara. I saw in my dream, O son, that I must slaughter you. You think, you decide what you think, what you decide, what I must do. He didn't say, I'll do it. He says, you decide. Because he wants to see what the child, because why? In his heart too now, what he's going to do? My Allah is saying this, but what my child is going to say.
Yes.
So the biggest shaitan in our heart is our logic and understanding. So therefore, the first shaitan you pelt is the one that Ibrahim overcome of his logic and understanding. His own mind. So what happened? Fanzur maza tara. This child, Allah gave us all children like this. Qala ya abati fal ma tu'mar satajiduni insha'Allah min as-sabirin. Oh Father, beloved Father, do what you commanded by your Allah. Soon you'll find me from amongst the patient ones. Not a doubt. Hey, you know what, you're not standing here, you didn't provide for me after 15 years, you're coming now, you just want to take me and, that would have been the answers. That's the children of today.
Yes.
And this child says, Abati fal ma tu'mar, do what you commanded. Then he takes the child and he lays him down with a knife in his hand, and he catches the child. The child says, you know what you do? Place me upon my stomach. In other words, place my forehead down. So that our eyes don't make contact and you'll fail to fulfill the command of Allah. This is the extent they went to fulfill and make the Allah happy. The angels of the heavens in history, they cried twice. One was this occasion when they saw this man taking the head of his child and about to sacrifice the child. The angels of the heavens cried. And the other one, 1400 years after, or you say years after that, my Nabi, when he came from Taif and he was returning and they were pelting him with the stones, the angels of the heavens cried when he made this dua, Allahumma inni ashku ilayka da'fa quwwati wa qillata hilati wa hawan lin-nas, to the end of the dua. So this occasion, Ibrahim alayhi salam, he catches the head of Ismail by his hair and is about to put the knife onto the neck. When, I tell you something, the sun also maybe gave a jolt and the wind also stopped in his blowing. Is this man really going to do it? That
shocking
moments that even the sun took a deep breath and the wind stopped in his traces. This man is picking up his entire son, the angels of the heaven crying, and he looks up and he says, oh my Allah, are you unpleased with me? Are you angry with me? If you're angry with me, you know what? If you bring 100 Ismails for your sake, I'll sacrifice all Ismails. Not one. If you think your love, or you say the love of Ismail is greater in my heart than your love, never, never, never. Ismail alayhi salam himself, he says, Allah, this is a cheap bargain. He says, oh Father, this is a cheap bargain. In place of you, I'll get Allah. In place of living in this world, I'll get Jannat. So you know what, let me go. When this was the jazba this was not actually something which Allah wanted them to do. It was for teaching a lesson to the rest of the ummah to come. That this is how, to the extent that you'll go to sacrifice your nafs and desires, your carnal desires and your feelings and your wishes and your aspirations for the sake of Allah. And this became, you call it Sunnatu Ibrahim, Sunnatu Abikum Ibrahim, the Sunnat of your forefather Ibrahim. Allah's Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he sacrificed yearly before he made his Hajj 2 ram sheep. 2 rams. One for him and one for the Ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. One for the Ummah of Muhammad. The Ummah didn't teach of it. Today, the wealthy of the Ummah to sacrifice for our Nabi is very difficult. He sacrificed one to the sawab, for the sawab must go to the Ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So Allah Ta'ala give us tawfiq that we also sacrifice for the sake of our Nabi, for all the sacrifice he made. That the sawab goes to him. So coming back to this, and on his Hajj, he sacrificed, some say 100 camels, the others say 63 with his own hands, and the others Ali radiallahu anhu slaughtered. Allah's Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he showed the ummah 63 with his own hand, he put the knife, that this is what is the sunnat of your father Ibrahim, that you revive it and I revive it, you take lesson and I take lesson, that we put a knife to our aspirations and desires which are haram and unlawful and against and opposing the system of Allah and the sunnat of my Nabi, and we come upon that like Ibrahim showed the entire ummah and his son showed the entire ummah, and Hajar make their sacrifice. Like that we respect all this. Allah give me tawfiq, Allah give us tawfiq, Allah bless all our Hajis who are there and include us in their du'as as well, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us on these occasions, on this pious occasions where you say sacred days of Zul Hijjah, that Allah give us tawfiq to do good deeds and accept our du'as for the sake of the people of Palestine as well, that Allah relieve them of all their sufferings and difficulties.
You know, Maulana, that moment when Ibrahim alayhi salam was about to sacrifice his son. That moment, what happened?
That very moment, I'm giving you this part. I cut it short. I just made it short. You know why? So that moment, Jibreel alayhi salam came with a ram from Jannah. Some say it's the ram that which Habil sacrifice was lifted in Jannah. He brought that ram. So he brought a ram from Jannah and he said, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. So Ibrahim alayhi salam said, La ilaha illallah wallahu Akbar. And Ismail jumped on and says, Allahu Akbar walillahi alhamd. In one riwayat, or you say one narration, this is how it ended. And in place of Ismail alayhi salam, so Ibrahim was disturbed by the call of Jibreel. The knife was already on the neck, but the knife did not cut. And our Nabi is the son of two people who were slaughtered. Two people who the knife was put to the neck. If you know about it. This one was Ismail, which now is under, he's the son, or you say he's the grandchild of Ismail alayhi salam, our Nabi, and the other is his father Abdullah. When Abdul Muttalib was commanded to redig the well of Zamzam, that he saw in his dream, Akhrij Tayba, Akhrij Tayba. You know, take out Tayba. Tayba means the pure water, pure water. So he said, what is this? So he asked himself in the dream, where? He says, in the Nakri Dik, where the crow pecks. So next day in the haram, he saw the crow pecking, they said, let's dig there. So he had one son. His one son was Haris. So they digging, the people were mocking at them. So they tried. Now he saw in his dream, now he says, I'm going for it, Abdul Muttalib. So he says, Allah give me 10 sons. Then I'll sacrifice one for the sake of Allah. Allah gave him 11 sons. Then after all these 11 sons grew up, then he remembered that he took that oath. He said, no, I must sacrifice.
Okay.
So then he remembered that Abdullah was Wasitatul Aqd. He was most beloved to him and he was the middle child. So he said to his children that, you know what, this is what I took an oath and I got to fulfill this oath. They said, no, Bismillah, sacrifice any one of us. So he said, no, I'll cast lots. So he casted lots one time Abdullah, second time Abdullah. He says, Abdullah, you got to get sacrifice. So the Kuffar Quraysh, the chieftains of Quraysh says, no, in front of us you will not sacrifice a child. A man by the name of As bin Wail, who was the father of Amr bin As radiallahu, he says, Abdul Muttalib, while I'm alive, I'll see that you not sacrifice this child. He says, no, I'm going to do it. He says, okay, let's go and take a verdict by Utbah Kahin was a fortune teller, soothsayer. Let's see what they say. So they went to Utbah, live in another village, and he gave a verdict, and he says, Siam, what is the blood money of a child, or blood money of a person amongst the Quraysh? They said, no, it's 100 camels. He says, okay, what you do? 10 camels, sorry. 10 camels. He says 10 camels. So he says, what you do, you write on one arrow 10 camels and one Abdullah. You carry on casting lots. Every time Abdullah's name comes out, you increase it by 10.
Okay.
So then now everyone is in the haram. So Abdul Muttalib brought 100 camels in caution that maybe 100 may be getting sacrificed. They said, now I'm going to sacrifice my camels. So he brought his 100 and he parked them by Safa side. And now they're casting lots. So everyone is watching. First time they casted Abdullah, he had 10. Abdullah, 20. Abdullah, 30. Like that it went away to 90. Everyone took a breath, held their breath. They said 90, there's 10 camels left. You got 10 camels left and Abdullah's name is coming out. The last time they said camels. Camels came out. They all said, like, Allahu Akbar. Then Abdul Muttalib said, no, I'll do it second time. Second time he said, okay, right, camels. Third time he said camels. He sacrificed the 100 camels and he redeemed Abdullah. So Allah's Nabi Sallallahu say, Ana ibn Zabihin. I'm the son of the two slaughtered people.
Allahu Akbar.
So the story goes with this.
Wow, what a story, because it's so emotional, you know, when you think about it. I mean, we are so attached to our children. And also Ibrahim alayhi salam, after such a long time, he gets a child. And ultimate test, ultimate test.
The height of test.
Yes, now we are at the tail end of our program. Maulana, please just in short give us a synopsis of today's discussion to refresh our memories, and then we can exit with a little dua to cover the challenges like never before.
Number one, it is the month of Zulhijjah. Zulhijjah is a sacred month, one of the 4 sacred months. Number two, the sawab of ibadat has been escalated. 1 day's fast is equal to 1 year's fast, and 1 night in worship is equal to standing on the night of Laylatul Qadr. And fasting on the day of Arafah is equal to, or you say, redeems or expiates the sins of the year before and the sins of the year coming. And also the greatest form of ibadat is qurbani, sacrificing an animal. If Allah Ta'ala has made you sahib and nisab, in other words, you pay zakat, even in the morning of the 10th of Zulhijjah, then it becomes wajib for you to sacrifice an animal. And the other thing, the spirit of qurbani should be revived in all of us, in our children as well, to keep alive the sunnah of our father Ibrahim alayhi salam and the sunnah which our Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam revived. So we should also engage in a lot of dua for the ummah, for the sake of the brothers and sisters in Palestine. And we should also include ourselves, or you say, ask the Hujjaj, if we have relatives and people, to include us in their du'as also.
Ameen, ameen.
And make dua for the khairiyat and the goodness of the ummah of, in the year coming after this. Inshallah. Jazakallah
Allahu
khairan.
Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Well, we say shukran to Maulana Yacoob Lehrie for such an insightful journey through the life of Ibrahim alayhi salam. Don't forget, dear ones, pass the word around to your relatives and friends to tune in every Sundays at 8 p.m. and Fridays at 10:30 p.m. For a bonus repeat. Maulana, can you just give us a small dua as we end up?
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم لك الحمد كما ينبغي لجلال وجهك وعظيم سلطانك اللهم صل على سيدنا ونانا محمد كما تحب وترضى وصل على سيدنا ونانا محمد بعدد ما تحب وترضى اللهم نسألك فعل الخيرات وترك المنكرات وحب المساكين اللهم وفقنا لما تحب وترضى من الفعل والقول والنية والهدى إنك على كل شيء قدير. Allah bless us in this auspicious month, in this sacred month. Allah give us tawfiq of good deeds. Allah put the rakbat in the interest and desire of good deeds in our heart, O Allah. Create the nafrat and hatred for your disobedience in our heart, O Allah. Give us tawfiq to aspire like our father Ibrahim alayhi salam, O Allah. Give us tawfiq to revive the sunnah like our Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam revived the sunnah, O Allah. Oh Allah, bless the ummah in the entire world, O Allah. Make khair and goodness and happiness and prosperity for this ummah, O Allah. Get rid of the bedini, O Allah, in the ummah, and the ghaflat and negligence in the ummah, O Allah. Make us those people, O Allah, to aspire and run to fulfill your commands, Allah, and the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. O Allah, accept us in the du'as of the Hujjaj, O Allah, and accept us in the du'as of the pious, O Allah. Sallallahu ta'ala ala khayri khalqi Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam rahmatika ya rahman.
Well, there we are with that beautiful dua. I'm AK and
I'm Maulana Yacoob Lehrie.
we bid you
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa
barakatuh. Shukran.
Alhamdulillah, we have covered a few more verses of our beloved Qur'an al-Kareem, imparting to all this most valuable knowledge to benefit us in this world and the hereafter, inshallah. Ameen. Join us once again for Iqra Waffham, read and understand your special connection with the Qur'an.
Iqra Waffham is presented by ulama and scholars who selflessly serve the ummah by sharing and delivering the noble message of the Qur'an. The learned presenters of Iqra Waffham make tremendous sacrifices to serve their community selflessly for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Radio Al-Ansar acknowledges their selfless and voluntary contribution. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless and reward them and their families abundantly. Ameen.
You are the only one I will follow till I die.